Let me ask you this. What can you – see, it's hard. I mean, even trying to formulate a question that doesn't get back to you have to be more explosive for any of this to work. But what can you do offensively if everybody's healthy and the roster is what it is currently? What can you do to be better? Like, how can you get more out of a group that gives you this much already? It feels like it's maxed. This group is maxed.
Yeah.
I don't know what more you could do with it. Like, you're one of the most efficient teams in the league, but you got to be able to make throws on 3rd and 7. You got to make throws on 2nd and 10. You have to, you know, that's it. It's not. There's nothing really you can do here. It's a really good room. It's a great room.
It's going back to the second half of 2020 and the first game of 2021. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to play at that level at the quarterback position, and Baker has done it. We've seen it. We went to the playoffs that year, but that's what you've got to see. That's the whole key. This league, it all comes back to the quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, the Rams were down to Cooper Kupp, their 3rd tight end, their 4th and 5th receivers, and what it should have been because Woods was out too.
Yep.
Odell's out. And it comes down to their quarterback making a ridiculous no-look pass. By the way, the pushback to that being a special play.
Who's pushing back to that?
People
idiots?
Yes. Obviously. But, I mean, saying that's what quarterbacks are supposed to do, that's the norm.
No, that's not the norm.
No. When other quarterbacks are blowing their minds, I think Orlovsky said it was the top 5 Super Bowl throw of all time.
Yeah.
Stafford was on with them and talked about it. Do we actually? I don't know if we have that. He was on with
Orlovsky. I did hear that. Yeah, it was really
great
good stuff. Yeah.
So that's what this league is about. So we can be the best we want at running back, and we can be the best we want at the offensive line. I mean, I've been here long enough to say in 2014 we had Joe Thomas at left tackle, Mitchell Schwartz at right tackle, Alex Mack at center. You had Joel Bitonio at left guard, and you had John Greco at right guard.
Probably the best offensive line in the league.
Yes.
Without question, yeah.
But we weren't great at quarterback, and we weren't great at receiver. We had guys who were good receivers, but we didn't have
a dude.
That dude.
Yep.
Right. You know, you're able to get 1,000 yards out of Travis Benjamin.
Right.
Taylor Gabriel. Hawk had a great season that year. Miles Austin, I want to say. Money Miles.
Yeah.
But you didn't have
Josh Gordon.
No, you didn't have the dude.
Yeah.
Well, you did at the week 10 or 11 he came back.
Right.
It was a little dicey, but no, you didn't have the dude. And I think for the Browns, you know, this offseason is about doing whatever you can to get your quarterback back to the level he's performed at in the past and getting weapons that are explosive and make things easier, because Nick Chubb should be getting with this line 2 yards down the field, 3 yards down the field before he's taking contact on average.
Yep.
That just makes everything operate more efficiently.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, we'll go through these positions, and you'll see the line. Everybody, your starters are all coming back. The only question you have on line is, you know, when will Conklin be ready to play? I see him every day down there rehabbing. I know he's ahead of schedule. He's feeling good. I've got a chance to talk to him a few times. But that's the only question you've got. So you have those things set up. But if you were to say, okay, you can have – close your eyes right now. You can have the best passing, so just quarterbacks, receivers, pass-catching tight ends, and be average at the offensive line. You could be bad at the offensive line and make it to the Super Bowl.
The Bengals
we just saw that.
Did it.
They're bad. They're not average.
They're bad.
With average, they're even better.
We know. We saw them do it. Yeah.
Right. But you can't make it with average to bad at quarterback or average to bad at your receiving and tight end positions. And that's one of the things why I hope that a guy like Chief comes back, because he is one of our explosive mismatch guys.
Yeah.
And we just haven't yet harnessed that. And I hope that's something that happens in the future. If he, you know, I know he wants to be here, and I think the organization wants him as well.
Yeah, it really is that simple. I mean, how many yards rushing did the Rams have a team in the Super Bowl? 30?
Maybe. They averaged like 1 yard a carry.
Yeah. They just didn't even, I mean, they just went spread. Essentially, it was a two-man game. It was Stafford and Kupp, one drive, two guys.
All
Stafford just kept moving him around.
Yep.
One point had him run the Odell route on the touchdown, had him run the Odell route. Like that's it. That's it. If you don't have that, or you mentioned the Bengals scenario. Yes, 3 stud receivers, a good tight end, a great quarterback. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's it. Joe Mixon, as good as he is, and you could say it was a fault, maybe it wasn't even in the game on the last drive.
If you got a guy that can handle all 3 downs, I just think it behooves your team to let him play all 3 downs for that exact situation.
Right. Agree. But it goes to the point of how they've done it.
course.
As long as you have 9 at quarterback and 1 at one side and 85 on the other, you're safe, pal.
Yep.
All right. Nick Shook grades each team's rookies this offseason. We'll get into that, plus go around the league. OBM, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider of the Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Get to Nick Shook's rankings here in a second. I want to ask you about the quarterbacks that are out there or could be out there. And there's a lot of this. I referenced this earlier, the Jeremy Fowler piece on Deshaun Watson, now kind of doing his own homework, so to speak, and looking in at the Vikings and the Buccaneers as to in adding them to his potential trade destinations that he would go. Remember, he has a full no trade. So it's going to be tough for some. Obviously, you'd have to do a lot of convincing if you're not on that list for anybody in the league. I think it's very clear that there aren't enough. It's musical chairs is what it is. There's not enough seats for all the teams that need quarterbacks. Watson, the idea that he could apparently, I was reading this morning, he could still be charged criminally, which seems impossible to me because it's been over a year that this has been going on. But apparently depositions in this can't even start until February 22nd. So if you do acquire him, that is still hanging over you, and potentially league could punish him beyond. But boy, it feels like you'd have to have some clarity on that, wouldn't you, beforehand? And he almost was dealt to Miami. That was his preferred destination. But now it seems like they're locked into Tua. I think they could be talked out of that pretty quickly.
Yes, quite quickly.
For Deshaun Watson. Do you think – let's start here. Do you think he's the first domino, or do you think the Rodgers news will be the first domino? Because I think Wilson will be a little later.
It feels like right now that Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay.
It does.
So if that happens, does that become – as much of news? I don't know the answer to that. So I think the first movement, though, will involve Deshaun Watson. And I think there's a good sense in people I've talked to around the league that were at the Super Bowl that not only will Watson play football in 2022, that he might miss some time, that the league might step in and give him something, but that he will start games for a different franchise in 2022.
Yeah, that seems to be it. The interesting thing on Rodgers is there were people at, one of the things that was coming out of Super Bowl week was, and not if but when, with Rodgers and the Broncos. And if you look at the betting, I don't know, were you on when we talked about the futures? Was that yesterday or was that Monday when you and I did I talk
we
about
went
futures?
Through those Super Bowl futures.
Yeah, Super Bowl futures.
Yeah, we did that together.
They had Broncos at 18-1. So that's clearly believing that they're getting Rodgers or somebody similar to go into Denver to go there. I'm with you, though. It does feel like the Green Bay has all the momentum in the world, and you'll sort it out, make one more run at it. You got to find a way to keep Adams, because I'm sure Rodgers, that would be tied, and he's a free agent. So you have to find a way to do that. But that seems to be the first one. The Watson thing is fascinating because of all of the tentacles on it. I mean, there's so many ways that it could go, but I don't think that it's by coincidence that the teams that being reported by Fowler that he's added are the Vikings and the Bucs. You just look around the league and you say, where do I want to play? I mean, NFC, go look at there is a lack of young quarterback play in that league that is stunning.
Right.
I mean, it's wide open.
The best quarterback.
Many of these divisions are wide open in the NFC.
Aaron Rodgers is nearing the end of his run. You've just lost Brady and Breeze in the last year. Now, of course, Brady could still show up in the Bay Area for one more year, but he's at the tail end. You're talking about people you have to contend with for a decade in the NFC. Now we don't know what's going on with Kyler.
At the very least, that is a strange situation. At the very least.
The very least. Is Dak really that elite?
Did you and I talk about that yesterday? No, yesterday you were off. I talked about that with Gibby. The Cardinals thing, that jumped up a notch when Mort put that report out. Because that's coming from management, coaching, or ownership is putting that out for Mort.
Yep.
So for that to come out, that's where that's coming from. That felt like something that was nothing that turned into something almost over the weekend.
And then Kyler issued his statement, which made no mention of I'm committed to the Cardinals. It was basically like, that's not what I'm about. That's BS.
Yeah.
Refuting that report that Mort got from somebody high up in the organization.
Right. That got weird in a hurry. Like
Real
it went
weird.
From like kind of a funny, hey, we don't follow you, you don't follow us, scrub Instagram, to Mort report and
0 to 60. And
it went quick. So just as a quick aside, but as you were saying, as you're going through the NFC.
So NFC West, Stafford is, maybe he can play for 5 more years, but I'm talking about like a young guy, not Stafford.
Not Stafford.
We don't know what Trey Lance is. Seattle's, we don't even know who their quarterback is, but Russ is not, a young guy anymore.
No.
And then now we don't know what's going on with Kyler. You go to the NFC East. Jalen Hurts isn't the answer. The football team doesn't have a quarterback. Is Dak the guy?
I think he's their guy.
He's very
but I don't
good,
know if
but
he's the guy.
He's not a guy that you're like,
Is
man,
he?
I
Do you
can't
think
go
he
to a conference with him.
Do you think he could be a Matt Ryan and have that type of ceiling where he could 1 year lead you to a Super Bowl game? Maybe you win it. Maybe he's in the running for MVP. He showed that before the injury that he felt like he was capable of that.
Sure.
Is that a fair comp?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I think he's certainly more athletic than Matt Ryan, and I think he's a very good player. My point is he's just not, as of yet, he has.
But he's not. He's not somebody you look at and you go, "Oh, that he's going to be in a gold jacket."
He's
some
not
point.
Burrow,
No.
Allen, Mahomes,
No.
Herbert, even
Correct.
in terms of what you're afraid of. So then Daniel Dimes is not that. You go to the South. Tampa and New Orleans don't even know who their quarterbacks are. Matt Ryan's on his last legs. Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. Then you go to the NFC North. Rodgers is at the end, even if he's around. He's the most elite. Goff still feels like a placeholder. He'll compete, and he can play at a nice level, but he's not the franchise guy. Fields, we don't know yet, but he's a young guy that they're committed to. And then you've got Kirk Cousins. I mean, in the NFC, Deshaun Watson goes to the NFC. He's instantly the second-best quarterback. That's assuming that Rodgers stays, and he is the only young decade-plus star. You come to the AFC, he's in a group of 5, maybe 6 with Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
But, yeah, if I was him, I'd want to go to the NFC.
Yeah.
But I think every team in the league that doesn't have one of those few guys that you and I just talked about is going to be looking into, can we get him? Now, he's got, as you said, the no-trade clause, and he's got an opportunity to dictate what exactly happens.
Yeah. The other one is Russell Wilson, who was out there. We've talked about Rodgers, certainly talked about Deshaun as well. Wilson is out there. You know, one of the things I thought potentially Green Bay could do is go all in with trading Rodgers and get a bunch of picks and rebuild that roster on the fly. Couldn't Seattle do the same?
They could. That's what they would have to do.
Yeah, couldn't they do the same where you net three or four first-round picks and a guy for Russell Wilson, and all of a sudden, because it doesn't feel like as constructed, they're not what Pete Carroll wants them to be, right? Seems like he wants to play defense and run the ball. Well, that's not what Russ is, and they really have no way of getting back to that. They haven't played good defense there in a long time. Wagner covers up a lot.
It's hard to play good defense in the NFL.
Sure.
The way you play good defense in the NFL is you dominate up front and you can cover on the back end.
I think and I actually think we're set up for it really well.
Yes.
Provided
we get our guys back.
Right. But from the standpoint of you need to have a game wrecker up front or two, but certainly one. And then in the back end, you need to have some guys who can make some plays. You need to have guys who do quick change, who intercept, who create fumbles, who do those things. We are set up actually tremendously well on the defensive side to be able to do that. You think about when you think about Delpit, JOK, Newsome, Denzel, and then Miles up front, that core is frightening, man, for what that can be as it grows.
You want to get Clowney back.
Sure.
You probably got to draft a younger edge guy that you can pair with him for more of the long term, and you need to find an interior disruptor. But, yeah, we're set up very, very well for this. By the way, I don't know what this has to do with, anything, but Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley have called off their engagement.
You hate to see it.
They are donezo.
He's big relationship guy though. He goes from one right into the other. He had the
serial monogamous.
He was Olivia Munn to Danica Patrick and now to Shailene Woodley. So that is the way that he's run it there. He bought some land in Nashville. So a lot of people are going there though. So I don't know that you could read anything into that. All right. Great friend of the program, Nick Shook, with his rookie team grades. He gives us a B+. Gibby wants to know if we agree or disagree. I think you got Newsome and JOK, and if you land on your first and second round picks a lot, you win a lot, and those are as big a lands as you're going to get. I think the only thing that you look back on and go, I would have thought that we would have got more from that would have been Anthony Schwartz. I think you would have thought you would have got more out of that.
I think this is a home run because you got your top 2 picks are both decade-long starters, you feel like, and difference makers. And you got, maybe Hudson, who he started 4 games for you. Maybe he becomes something. Felton looks like he can be a long-time role player for a team. And then, Schwartz, you didn't get, what you wanted out of it. But I think he's a guy that was still so young in the position that it was going to take some time. We'll see. We'll see. I think this is. I think it because of what you did at the top. It's an elite group. Whereas you look at the Bengals, for example, right? The Bengals, it's a 2-person class. Jamar Chase, really good.
Yeah.
And then Evan McPherson being as good as he was,
Yeah.
I think really impacts the way that class. Your third-round pick played no games. Osai, the pass rusher, was hurt all year. Jackson Carman, the second round on a bad line, could only give you 6 starts. I mean, it's a 2-person class, but it's an unbelievable class.
If you get last 2 Bengals drafts, Burrow, Higgins, Chase, McPherson, I don't care what, and they got Wilson in one of those too. I don't care what any of the rest of the guys are.
Yeah.
Just like us. You got Newsom and you got JOK. Sold. Crushed it.
I like, and I think the Ravens, Bateman, I think is going to be very good. And Oweh, I thought was a pretty good player for them as well. So they did a pretty good job. They had 2 first-round picks, and I thought they got quite a bit out of them. Their third-rounder, Brandon Stevens, made 11 starts for them. And then you go to the Steelers. Najee's good. Freiermuth's good. Kendrick Green seems like the center of their future. And they had their tackle, Dan. They had, he started 15 games. Did Green 16 for more. Freiermuth was very good, and Najee's good. I mean, that wasn't a bad rookie class either.
No, it was not. We will go around the league coming up next, including the Rams parade is going on right now. Les Snead wearing one hell of a shirt.
Yeah.
We will get to that.
There's nobody there, though.
Yeah,
the streets are empty.
But aren't they still in the masks and all that and all the gatherings? Other than NFL games, I think they're still limited with what they can do.
Reportedly, the mask mandate ended on Tuesday.
Oh, did it get pulled?
But they've shortened the parade route significantly and kind of limited the party.
It's 82 degrees and
screwing
sunny.
up in only how California can. You're outside.
It's LA.
Keep
There's
up
a
the
lot
great
to do.
work.
There's a lot to do. I'm not going to. I saw a lot of people around here locally crushing LA for the ratings. I feel like they don't understand ratings of television. They did a 78 share. LA's huge. It's huge. There are a certain segment of that population that don't even care about the NFL because of the diversity of the area. And by the way, if you're a casual or think about how many people in this part of the country, and if you looked at the top 10, Jacksonville was the only one that wasn't in a winter place. Top 10 ratings individual market. So Cincinnati was 1. I think we were 6. Columbus was 4. So 3 in Ohio. If you're in this part of the country, the Super Bowl is a social event. You have Super Bowl parties. It's what you do. If you're in Southern California and you don't care about I guess my point is, even if you don't care about football, you're going to a Super Bowl party. If you're in Southern California, you don't care about football, you go to the beach.
Correct.
It's 3 o'clock in the
go
afternoon.
for a hike.
Prime sunning.
Yeah. You're not going to – why would you do it? Yeah. I actually think the number was extraordinary. They did a 78 share was actually extraordinary.
And that's where I was going. People – I think we hear the big numbers here in Cleveland or Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You got to remember, in Chicago, if you're doing a 4 share.
Right.
You're doing well. A 4 share here, it's panic and
right.
alerts and everything.
These are big places. All right, so we'll tell you the T-shirt he's wearing. We'll go around the league coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, the weather is about ready to get cold again outside. A nice hot bath or shower feels amazing. Why not transform your bathroom and your wet space in your bathroom into a custom bath? Make it feel like a spa. That's what the Bath Authority can do for you. They make it a reality. It's a fraction of the cost of the competitors. It's as simple as that. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. Give them a call now, $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. The phone number on that is 216-220-8399 or thebathauthority.com. Guys, it's where the affordability meets the quality. It's the largest selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. You can change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding very, very easily. Superior products, expert installers. And again, that is 216-220-8399 for the $500 off, or go to thebathauthority.com for more. You had mentioned the conversation that Matthew Stafford was having with Dan Orlovsky. I believe it was on Get Up this morning, or it was on one of the NFL Live.
NFL Live, I think.
NFL Live.
Yep.
Here is that conversation. Let's have a listen.
I mean, I've obviously seen hundreds of those, and I know physically, like, you can't describe them. But just for people listening, like, what goes through your mind mentally in that moment when you go, here comes one of these no looks? Because there has to be a thought of, here it comes, I'm going to stay there and just trust it. Like, what goes through your mind in that?
Yeah, I caught that snap, saw that Vaughn was coming down into 3 hook, and knew it was going to be a tough play for that coverage, but also knew that we needed some yards. And so at that point, I'm just doing everything I can to try to put him on the player I don't want to throw the football to at that moment. I want to throw it to Coop, who's running in behind him there to make a big play for us. So kind of feeling him, trying to move him as much as I can. There's a little half hitch in there where I'm just confirming that he's moving, and then cutting it loose to a good spot, and Coop ran in there and made a play.
The notion that is something you see. First of all, if you saw it all the time, you would have seen the highlights of it by now. In a Super Bowl, I've never. I agree with Orlovsky. To me, I framed it this way because sometimes you get hyperbolic, but I phrase it this way: the coolest throw I've ever seen in a Super Bowl. I mean, you're talking about fourth quarter, 3 minutes to go.
Yep, down. You got one guy that everyone knows you're throwing to, and you throw a no look behind a safety's head, laser
after bringing him down. I don't know. I think it's as cool as any throw I've seen in the Super Bowl.
And it was a laser.
It was
an
absolute missile.
Missile.
It was a missile. Yeah.
Unbelievable throw.
Yeah.
Unbelievable throw.
That's very, very cool.
A+.
Yeah, it was. Joe Burrow, as we go around the league, played in Super Bowl 56 with a sprained MCL. So this goes to – I saw Zach Taylor talking about this morning. Got an extension, by the way. He'll be in Cincinnati through 2028. But they were talking about Joe playing on that MCL. No surgery for that, just needs some rest going forward. One tricky thing for them is Gibby asks, how good does his line actually have to be? Joe likes contact. He's a physical guy. If you've seen some of the stuff from him, maybe at Ohio State when he was wrestling with Sam Hubbard and all of those type of things, like he's a physical dude. So the thing is they got to do a little bit of teaching him how to not take hits. He was actually a half second quicker to get the ball out than Stafford.
Yeah, he was getting it out ridiculously
like 2.4,
fast.
and Stafford ended up 2.9. But I think some of the Stafford was even probably shaved down a little bit because of the last drive, where he probably held it longer. Probably was more like a second for some of the game where he ended up holding it longer. So they've got to protect him better. We don't need him to do that other than we like Joe Burrow as a human. But that's they're going to have every opportunity to. Like, we were talking about drafting the receivers. If I'm them, I would take offensive lineman with my first 3 picks. That's it.
Or sign some.
Well, you can do that too because they have a lot of cap
That's
space.
one of the things that you can bring in where you get a pretty good return. Typically, offensive linemen can change teams and still play at a high level. Receivers, it has been a little bit of a tougher sell. But, yeah, that's all they got to do is buttress that line.
Yeah, that's the job. Speaking of Stafford, the Super Bowl champion will enter the final year of his contract, slated to make $23 million. How long should the Rams extend him for? However long he wants. However long it makes financial sense. 5 years, $200 million, and a bunch guaranteed, whatever.
Yeah.
Sort it out. He doesn't have to be the highest paid player. I think Stafford has made so much money in the league. I can't even imagine. I mean, we were doing the Goff thing in the break, and I didn't realize that he was slated to make 180. If he's 180, because Stafford was
already pocketed 110.
He's already pocketed 110. Stafford, at one point, he was in the quarterback era where it wasn't capped. So he was either the second to last or the last guy that got like $50 million as a first
Sam
round
Bradford
pick.
was the last.
Bradford was the last. That's right.
Yep.
So he was the last one to get it. I would say Stafford probably already has made $250 million playing in the league.
right.
Or that's what he's contractually obligated for. Don't you, is it near there? $200 million?
I'm pulling it up here. Career earnings, Matt Stafford. Gibbe, you got a guess?
I was pulling it up, so I'm out.
240.
Oh, 250. I nailed it. Almost
240
nailed it.
he's made, and he's got 23 coming in this year.
Pretty
so
nice.
262
Nice
after this season, but he'll get an extension. So he'll finish over 300.
He'll go over 300. So he doesn't. I guess the point of all that is he's fine.
Yeah.
Generations upon generations of Staffords are
I'll
fine.
make my $23 million a year.
Yeah, I mean he can do something that's friendly to them and take care of them. It seems like he loves playing there. I don't know why he wouldn't, and be just fine. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he took a little bit of a discount just to make sure everybody can work.
So
and it sounds like that's what it is with Donald. Real quick, that Donald's in the last year of his deal, like all the retirement stuff with Donald was actually like, hey, T.J. Watt just got paid.
Leverage.
I'd like to get paid.
So Matt Stafford, my guess is that Matt Stafford will finish as the highest paid player ever.
Eli is that now, right?
This, according to Spotrac.
Or did Brady pass him?
Brady, this is what it has here. I don't know why Eli's not on here. Maybe this is only active players.
Eli was. At one point, he had made more money than anybody playing in the NFL, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brady passed him.
So Brady's at 292. For some reason Eli's not coming. Highest paid players of all time. I think it's Brady.
I can tell you. I Googled. This is on Sport Track. Tom Brady career earnings $292 million.
Eli's at 232 according to this anyway. I don't know if that's right.
Big Ben was number 2 at 267.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's right there.
Yep, 267. Aaron Rodgers 263.
Breeze was 270, Peyton 245, Rivers 240. Stafford's at 240 right now, and he's only 13 years in. I mean, he might end up as
he might pass. Eli 252 according to Sport Track.
Yeah, this is on over the cap. I wonder why they have different numbers.
Yeah. So he was until these guys just passed him recently.
Yep.
Ben with the last run, Brady with the last run.
Yep.
He was the number one up until that point. Mahomes will be the one to do it, and then this will all just reset over and over and over again. Like Herbert and Burrow will be $400 million guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it's going to go going forward. Kevin O'Connell goes to the Super Bowl parade yesterday to press conference as the 10th head coach in Vikings history, so they get that job done. The McVay guys have been pretty good. The Kyle guys have been pretty good. I mean, those trees have produced a lot of good coaches.
No doubt. It's
just part of the reality of it. We mentioned the Fowler stuff. Jerome Bettis turns 50 today. That seems about right to me. You'd have to be.
We are old, Gibby. This isn't a feel-old moment. We are old.
I think it hit that we're old when the Super Bowl was all based on us.
That's right.
It was at that point.
All geared to us.
Les Snead at the Rams parade wearing a T-shirt that says, blank them picks.
Don't need them.
Don't need them. Who needs them?
Who needs them? I'm a Super Bowl champ.
True or false, the entire thing with Los Angeles is the biggest gamble paid off in NFL history. The move to LA, the building of the stadium, the way that the team was built. It was the biggest all or nothing in NFL history.
And it worked pretty well. So,
all in.
Not nothing.
That's the way you do it. All right, little higher, lower, better, worse coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Football isn't football without friends. Watching the Browns alone means no one's going to hear your amazing in-game analysis, and the same is true with gambling. Keep things social. Never gamble alone. One of the helpful, responsible gambling tips you'll find at keepitfunohio.com. Time for a little higher, lower, better, or worse. Presented by the Ohio Lottery and Gibbe. Hello, Gibbe.
Hi, gentlemen.
What's up, man?
Little Wednesday.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, and neither does Nana, the official Nana of the show. Nice text this morning. Happy first Friday. She gets it. Good job, Nana.
You get the show, Nana.
She gets it.
What would she partake on? What would be the beverage of choice for her on this evening on the first Friday to enjoy?
Water. She also likes to
crazy
order.
with the cheese whiz,
She also
kids.
likes to order hot water.
Water and hot water. Ever throw a lemon in that?
Oh yeah, sure. She'll drink some tea now.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where she enjoyed a vino?
I don't believe so. Not that I'm
I
aware
don't
of.
believe so.
But she's back to eating meat, so that's good.
Well, that's exciting.
It is exciting. She requested a
exciting.
brisket for her 72nd birthday.
I love
which was
it.
an out of left field
Baby
call.
steps, man.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I love it. That's great.
She's a lot more expensive though to take to dinner now than she used to be.
What was the previous order?
Some steamed vegetables. She ate to like be alive more than like,
Didn't enjoy it?
No.
And you wonder where your son gets it from.
My son is eating carbs. He's eating pasta and rice exclusively. Now, he does drink a lot of plant-based protein shakes.
There you go.
And he's growing like a weed. Next time you see
all
Bryce,
working
you're going to
out.
be like, what? He's giant. That is, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. My mom used to eat food wasn't her thing.
I love it.
I love food.
I love the idea.
I was just talking to the Hoff, and I told him, since I've been doing these workouts, and I already had an insatiable appetite.
Yeah.
I just constantly want to eat food, like constantly, like more food.
You're feeding it. You're feeding the body,
Yeah,
man.
you got to feed those. You got to feed.
You gotta
You want to
feed it.
grow. You want to get
That's right.
swole.
You got to get it done.
More plates, more dates.
There you go. I love it.
Little higher or lower. Brought to you by our great
Gibbe
friends at
Dynamite.
the Ohio Lottery.
Just electric. Let's go, Gibbe.
Today, compliments of Dan Hanzus, NFL.com. It is how the 32 NFL teams rank post Super Bowl. Nick, hit it.
Higher or lower?
All right. Number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. It takes us to number 2, and the Kansas City Chiefs. 14-6 to end their season. They're going to open the offseason power rankings, ranked number 2. Higher, lower, or just right? Zegura, we will start with you today.
I mean, I think that's fair. I think they're in a fair spot. Number 2. I mean, the Bengals did beat them,
Right.
but they were on
Twice, in fact. in a
They were
month.
on a path to boat race the Bengals in that game, and I don't know what happened. I still think, 4 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win. Yeah, they're still the class of the AFC. They should be the favorite in the AFC every year until they get knocked off consistently. But I kind of like that 2, 3, and 4. I like the way that it's laid out there with, the AFC representing the young guys right there.
Yeah, I think you could go higher even if you wanted to. I think they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. I think them and the Bills are the two favorites to win the Super Bowl. So I think if you wanted to, you could go that way. I think you'll look back at the second half of the AFC Championship game as among the more stupefying performances of an elite player ever. I mean, there is a LeBron against the Celtics. Like, what are you doing vibe to it.
Well, he wasn't standing in the corner.
No, but it was. Kobe did that once too.
He didn't quit.
Kobe did that in Game 5. People always forget this. Kobe did this against the Suns. They were the 8th seed. They won the first 2 games. Phoenix wins the last 2. The 5th, Game 5, he just said the hell with it. He just
Didn't he just pass it?
Smush Parker. Yeah, he just kept passing. They'd run it to him, and he'd just pass it away. Just give it away like hot potato. Just stood. So, I mean, it happens. Mahomes tried. He was out there trying. It just didn't work. And the performance was
How about?
absolutely bonkers.
And is Eric
for somebody
Bieniemy
that
the one that they're going to cast aside and assign blame to?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more, from reading about it this morning, it seems like it's more, there's an understanding that being under Andy Reid, he can't get out from under the shadow. Like, he'll never get credit for the offense there.
I was wondering
and so
if that
if
was
he
gonna
wants to be a
ultimately be the
coach,
reason
like,
he
he's going to
has
have
to
to go
leave.
be an offensive coordinator somewhere else to say this is my system, and then he could go back and maybe then he can be a head coach. But if he ain't getting a head coach job after what they've done the last 3 or 4 years, obviously he's not getting credit for it. They're giving it's going to Mahomes and it's going to Reed. So
Next.
Where do you think he'd want to go?
Higher or lower?
I don't even know who needs coordinators.
I don't know either. Who did Peterson hire a coordinator in Jacksonville? Because didn't Peterson come from that tree as well?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I thought about Dennis Allen with the Saints maybe. Would he hire him as an offensive?
It's a scary place to go when you don't know who your quarterback is.
It sure
Eric
is.
Bieniemy.
Yeah, but they're not promoting Carmichael, our guy.
He's an electric factory.
Electric factory. Got to be able to lead, man.
The Buffalo Bills are number 3 in the offseason kickoff power poll. Takes us to number 4 and the runner-up in Super Bowl 56, the Cincinnati Bengals. Higher, lower, or just right, Bishop?
I mean, you could make. I would have had these. I would have had it. Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo in the AFC, but you can mix them however you want. They're a top 5 team. They are a full year ahead of schedule. They will be better. They might not get back to where they got to this year, but they're going to be a better team next year than they were this year. So it's just a matter of it's just a meat grinder in the AFC. That's it. But they will address offensive line. Everything I'm hearing from down there is it's a matter of if not when, or when not if, with Jesse Bates. So they'll get him locked up. They're going to get Uzoma locked up. So they got a lot of money they can throw at offensive line. They got a lot of assets they can throw at it. And other than that, they're pretty set.
Yeah. They're a favorite to come out of the AFC, represent the AFC again, to win. They're going to be the favorite to win the AFC North.
Yep.
Probably pretty handily. So it's appropriate where they are right now. Yeah.
Next.
Higher or lower?
The Packers are number 5, and it takes us to number 6. The San Francisco 49ers. Higher, lower, or just right, Zegura?
I think it is just right. I mean, I think that you're going to be able to trade Garoppolo for something good because I think he's going to be one of a couple names that are actually going to move. And so they could end up getting a 1 for him, or they're going to get a good 2 and maybe a player. He's going to bring back great value to the 49ers. And so it's going to be about, can Kyle get Trey Lance to play at a high level? I've seen Kyle get the best out of quarterback. Like Brian Hoyer played his best football under Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
So I know that Kyle can get good play out of quarterbacks that aren't great. He did it with, Beathard. Nick Mullins blew up there, although I like what Nick Mullins showed us here as well, but he is very good at that. So they're going to throw assets at their defensive secondary at the quarterback position. They've got a great pass rush up front. They can run the ball on anybody. They've got Debo. They've got Kittle. They've got Ayuk. Yeah, they're a good team. And I think this list could basically go, I think the top 5 are their own category, and then I think the Niners and Cowboys, 6 and 7 are their own category, and then I think there's a big chasm between those teams, and then it's a lot of
what if?
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's a lot of we'll see.
Yeah, it is a lot of that. Initially my thought was, well, that's way too high for a team that's going to be playing Trey Lance at quarterback. But then you start to look at who's around there, and it's like, well, who am I going to put ahead of him?
Right.
Like there's a bunch of crazy situations that you got to see play out. And there's also the Brady part here. I mean, there was legitimate buzz that not only is he not done, but that he's going to go play for San Francisco or Miami. I mean, Simmons said today, put it 60-40, 60% 49ers, 40% Miami as part of an ownership play in Miami, with Giselle wanting to be in Miami. So, I mean, there's that part of it. But the San Francisco thing, and then you put Brady on them? I know he's not ideal to their system, but my God, you work it for a year and sort it out.
Of course he can play in that system.
Of course he can, yeah.
I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo's playing in the system,
yeah,
he would be better than that.
Yeah.
He'd be great in that system.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan became the MVP in that system. You'd say, because people think you got to be a mobile guy. You don't. Matt Ryan's not mobile. It's about clearly defined reads and having a great scheme, and he'd be phenomenal in it. He'd be insane.
Do you ask Montana to wear 16?
Yes, I want him to. That's me saying that. I want him to. Come home. He grew up. He's a Bay Area kid.
Yep.
Play for the team of your youth.
Throw on a
16 and win a Super Bowl. It'd be amazing.
Jeez.
It'd be awesome. Don't wear 12. Don't do it. 12 doesn't – nothing out there. 16, Joe would let him. It would be great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Maybe he'll ask Steve Young. He was a big fan of his growing up.
Ugh.
Next.
Hate to see it.
Why do you say so?
Higher or lower?
As you mentioned, the Cowboys are 7, and then things do get a little muddy. Number 8 is Tennessee. Number 9, the Indianapolis Colts.
Give me the
Top
Chargers.
10.
Give me the Chargers all day.
Give me the Cardinals.
Give me the Ravens even.
Give me us. Give me the Ravens.
Yes.
This is way too high. Patriots. They did not. All they had to do is beat Jacksonville. That's it. Go beat Jacksonville. Couldn't do it. Now they don't know what they're doing with quarterback. Now all of a sudden they're not crazy about Wentz. So now you're going to move off of Wentz. Okay, so what are you going to do? Like, unless Andrew Luck walks through the door, this is way too high for them. Way too high.
Yeah.
Worser.
Definitely. Worser.
Next,
Higher or lower?
the Patriots are number 10. The Chargers, number 11, which I think we can all agree should be higher. Takes us to number 12 in the Ratbirds. Baltimore, coming off an 8-9 season. Higher, lower, or just right? Bishop.
I think people forget how many injuries they had, so they should be higher.
Yeah.
Them healthy is pretty scary. They're still the hardest team, one of the hardest teams in the league to prepare for because of the way that they go about their business. If they have if those backs are healthy and Lamar's healthy and their corners are back, like, it's miraculous they pulled off what they did this year to go 8-9 with all the injuries they had. They're better than ranked 12th. Betterer.
Yeah. Look, fact is, folks, we're going to be projected to come in 3rd in this division.
Depending on what Pittsburgh
unless
does at
Pittsburgh
quarterback.
lands an Aaron Rodgers or something.
Right.
But that's where we're going to be.
Yep.
And, yeah, Baltimore went 8-9. Jackson missed, 6 games? Your whole defense missed games. You didn't have a running back
Both
the
corners,
whole
both
season.
Down
backs.
22
nuts.
starters, I think.
Yeah.
And they still went 8-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be higher. We should be higher. Arizona should be higher. The Chargers should be higher. I'll take all those teams over New England. Okay, whatever.
Yep.
Colts, whatever. Titans.
New
I know
England
they were
to
the
me-
1 seed, but nobody's scared of the Titans.
No. New England to me feels like a mirage.
You can only smoke and mirrors it for so long. They just don't have the horses.
No, they don't have the horses. On the outside, or Mac's smart, but he's not drive the ball guy.
Next,
Higher or lower?
mentioned it. The Cleveland Browns come in at number 14. Higher, lower, just right. Zegura.
I mean, I think that's fine. I like us better than the Colts, so that would make us higher, I suppose. But we've got a lot to prove. This is a very disappointing season. We have a huge question mark over what level of play we're going to get out of our quarterback in Baker. And if he can return to form, then that elevates everything. We've got to address the wide receiver position. We've talked about all offseason. The passing game in general is the number one priority. We got to make sure we get Clowney back. We've got to shore up the interior of our defensive line that has some question marks now. But we're poised and positioned to be very competitive. We should be very competitive. We should have been in the playoffs last year. So, yeah, we should be in the top 14. Those are the 14 playoff teams, but we've got to be better. And I think how that manifests itself is going to be very interesting to follow.
Our defense is Super Bowl ready.
Yes.
And is built for the modern NFL.
Yep.
So the offense just has to catch up.
Next,
Higher or lower?
by far the most fascinating drop of any team in the National Football League in the offseason power rankings kickoff. Number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My. What happens when you lose your quarterback? You drop to 19. But should it be higher, lower, or just right, Bishop?
There's one of a half dozen of these of who's quarterbacking it. I mean, right now it's Kyle Trask, so they would be lower. You know, what are their options? The top end, everything you hear is they're going big game hunting. So they're going for Deshaun Watson, Rodgers, Wilson. That will be the first calls that are made. We'll be there. Okay, so you strike out on those. So then is it Garoppolo? Is he really going to follow Brady? Like, is he going to do that? Would he do that? Who knows? If that doesn't happen, then what? Then you hope Cousin hits the market? Do you hope that one of those places where one of those guys left or where they went to somebody becomes available? They're impossible. Impossible to rank.
It's hard
Who's
to
the
do
quarterback?
this rankings.
If it's Kyle Trask, lower. If it's Deshaun Watson, they're top 5.
It's hard to do these rankings for really the majority of the teams because, as we've talked about, 20 of the teams, you don't even know their quarterback situations. How can you even assess what a team is going to be without knowing who's playing the most important position of all of professional sports for them.
Right. It seems like Dan on this one kind of went in between. Like he's rewarding the Rams for being the Super Bowl champions at number 1, but he's punishing the Buccaneers. So that almost makes it seem like it's last year's final power ranking, but then he's punishing the Buccaneers because we know Brady's not there.
Right.
So like, is this a power ranking on how they ended the season, the 32 best teams as they ended the season, or is it a power ranking of this is what they are heading into the offseason?
Well, he's got
So it's mixed.
the Packers
mixed
at 5.
messaging.
Right, as though Rodgers is returning.
Right. And the one he's got at 32, we'll have time, it's
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
we can do it quick here. We
We'll
got
do it
about
quick.
60 seconds. Jacksonville
Jacksonville
32.
is way better than that.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the best jobs that was open. I mean, that was pure chaos with Trevor Lawrence this year. They've got some nice young talent. They've got some space. They got good draft picks. They're going to pick high. That's a good spot, man.
You can't tell me that Houston's better than
No,
They're better than
not.
Houston.
The
They're better
Jets
than
aren't.
Carolina. They're better than the Giants. They're better than the Lions. They're better than the Jets. They're better spot than the Falcons right now. They're better than the Commanders right now.
Better than the Bears.
Better than the Bears. The Broncos are ready-made for a quarterback, but they don't have a quarterback.
Right.
Like throw Trevor Lawrence on the Broncos.
Away we go.
Away we go.
So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk and Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. So the weather I see the advisories are out, kids. Be careful.
Lots of advisories.
Flooding situations over the course of – what will it be like tomorrow as we convene, do you think? Just downpour at that point? It's just going to rain all
I
day?
think it's just going to be a lot of heavy rain, and it'll switch
That's going to be brutal.
at some point late tomorrow afternoon into
gonna
the
be rotten.
early evening.
That's going to be brutal.
All right, it's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough.
It's only February 16th.
Enjoy a cocktail tonight. Drink it all away. Next level up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.